I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Enough jumps, the middle finger make my Jaeger.
Howdy, howdy, and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, Comcast Cable Channel 23 on this warm spring-like December 10th. Christmas is near, but the warm weather is
It doesn't
here.
feel like Christmas. It feels more like September.
Hey, I was, ready to just get outside and thinking about cutting the lawn again or something. It
I
was
was
beautiful.
Down in the park today, I seen a few people playing softball.
Sure, softball. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be warm through the weekend, so holiday shoppers, leave the winter coat at home. Break out that spring coat. We are here back in studio. We missed the last couple weeks. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving, and I did. I had a nice little time, but we were back. We snuck in. Quick little thank you to the former Evil director, Mr. Kevin Gallagher Jr., for flipping his schedule so we could get in here live today. So we'll say thank you to him for the juggling that goes on behind the scenes here so all of us producers can try to get our shows done. But we made it in. And let's say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr.
Hi, Scott.
How was your Thanksgiving,
It was
Bob?
good. It was just.
And there we see Bob.
It was just the four of us, so.
It's almost like that's a shot. It's almost like we got a camera behind you with this picture we got.
Yeah, I think it was.
That's an old time, a long time ago. We got a lot more stuff on the set now.
Yeah.
A little overcrowded, maybe.
And we also have something new to the set.
We do, yeah. If they drop that, the lower third now, which the Boston Garden. Usually we have the Fenway Park view there, but no.
But
Bob
now
shows up with gifts. It's the holiday season. Bob doesn't need a reason. He brings gifts down here all the time.
Yeah. But
A couple more books to add to the collection and a new picture for the set.
So now we're all set for the season.
Yeah. Enough with baseball. We're on to basketball and other things.
Yeah.
Bob Show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. He's covering all things local, entertaining, and fun, and whatever. Mike Toohey in the control room, his show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. I would imagine
He must be getting his Christmas show
he's got to be getting that Christmas show ready. We've done a couple good Christmas shows in the past. We'll see what he does this year. I know we got a taping coming up next week. Maybe he'll be getting to it then. The production assistant extraordinaire is here, Mr. Connor Faco, who we also hear is a master game player.
Yes, he is.
Telling me of his exploits in the video game world today before the show, so we'll mention that. Strange Man showed up out of the blue. Didn't know that he was coming. Maybe he'll sneak a strange stat of the week in here. He did come in screaming, Bob, about the NFL officials.
Yes, I heard.
And I will be getting to that because I've been doing some screaming about the NFL officials, especially when it comes to Patriots, in particular, Patriots-Broncos.
Yeah, that was an interesting game.
But
to
it's
say the
every
least.
game, really. But Patriots certainly have been getting their fair share of bad calls. And McFadden is here, and he is quite pleased
that the Jets
with his performance, the comeback, the battle for New York. Jets versus Giants. It was a home game for the Giants, but they did not leave happy.
No.
We'll mention the phone number, 203-792-4101 is the number. We are here until 7 o'clock. If you've missed us, you just want to say hello, call in, say hi. Maybe Uncle Buck's watching tonight. Maybe he wants to call.
A buzz.
Who else is out there that wants to get on the phone and give a
Maybe the
call?
Evil director will call in. We haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, we'll take any call from anybody, even if you've never called before. We'll see. We'll see if that phone line rings. 203-792-4101 is the number. But get to it quick because it is the fastest 30 minutes in TV talk sports.
So you want to talk about the NFC, the
NFC East. Remember the good old days, Bob, when the NFC East was a great football conference, a great football division? You had the G-Men, you had the Cowboys, you had the Redskins. Remember the days when the Redskins used to win Super Bowls?
When was that?
Late 80s, early 90s, 3 Super Bowls for them. Eagles, well, they never won
Yeah.
a Super Bowl. But they were good.
Yeah.
They've, were a good team. But right now, 5-7, 3 teams tied atop the division. And after that improbable victory Monday night by the, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
Big D up in D.C.
Who are now 4-8.
They are 4-8. You know, Bob, they're like one game away
out.
from having the
Yeah.
worst record in the league, and they're one game away from being in first place in
Yeah.
your division.
Oh, yeah.
Because the G-men blow yet another fourth quarter lead. 10-point lead. Is this a strange man start of the week? Oh, yes. We will be getting to the Bruins and the Celtics.
Yeah.
Sorry, while the pictures are rolling, I was being delivered stat of the week from our man Connor there, but he missed his time on the air.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Anyways, Bob, 5 fourth quarter leads. In real time, Bob, why don't you tell me what you were thinking when they decided to go for it on 4th and 2 instead of giving themselves an automatic field goal 13-point lead and just keeping the momentum on your side? What were you thinking there?
I was thinking we should have stayed with what we were doing to begin with.
Take the points,
Yeah.
Bob. The Jets were doing absolutely nothing in this game. Why do you want to give a
We're
team
up by
that's
10
down?
points, and we decide to
Go for it
up.
on 4th and 2. It's not like it was 4th and goal from the
Right.
1-inch line.
Right.
It's 4th and 2 down in the red zone. Take the field goal,
Go.
keep the other team down, keep the momentum on your side. Instead, you go for it. Eli throws the interception, and now all of a sudden the Jets have life and they have momentum, and they drive down the field. They get the field goal to cut it to 7. If you make it a 13-point game, that means the Jets have to score 2 touchdowns to beat you instead of a touchdown and a field goal to tie and force overtime, which they ultimately did, and then they go on and win it in overtime. Bob, 23-20 was the final of that game. So now your Giants...
Ready? Listen for it.
What's that?
We're going to have a crash in a second here.
Oh, we have something. Something going down in the background. The Yukon flag ending. Oh, there it goes. Camera. Well, you're a little late on camera 3, Mike.
Yeah.
Come on, boy. These guys in the studio. Can they pay attention? We had the flag go down. They missed it. All right. Anyways, the show's falling apart. So, Bob, you're 5-7, but ultimately you end up in first place.
Well, actually, we got 3-way tie for first place and 3-way
The
tie for
Eagles, shockingly, go
Yeah.
up to Foxborough this weekend,
And
and they take care of business.
They did
Scored
damage.
35 unanswered points against the Patriots. The Patriots did rally after that and almost had a chance to tie that game.
Well, the first quarter there was nothing.
Again, it was a case of the stupids. Patriots, after watching the Giants get all stupid in your game, you know, they're up 14-0. The
Yeah.
Eagles have been trounced, by a combined score of 90 to like 10
Right.
in the last 2 games. Patriots are up 14-0, and they try a pooch punt, fake onside kick that does not work, and all of a sudden you give the Eagles a little bit of life. They go down, make it 14-7, and then much like they did in the game against the Broncos the week before, in the 2-minute drill, they decide not to attack.
Right.
They go into conservative mode, except for this time they did not run out the clock, so
Right.
they had to punt the ball, and the Eagles block it with 9 seconds left, pick it up, run it into the end zone. Now it's all of a sudden it's 14-14.
It's a tie game.
You have full
Back into
control of this game, and you get stupid by trying 2 things that are ridiculous, and the Eagles suddenly have life. Patriots open the second half by driving right down the field, and here we go, pick 6, 99-yard interception return for a touchdown by the Eagles. So now all of a sudden it's 21-14. You're controlling this game completely. Despite the fact that you got major injuries all over the place, you're completely still outplaying them, yet now you're down by 7. Then they go 3 and out, and they punt, and what happens there? Eagles block the punt, and they run it in, they don't block that punt. They get the punt return. So now you have a blocked punt, a punt return, and an interception return for a touchdown. Unbelievable, 28-14. They get another touchdown before the Patriots come back in the fourth quarter, and then they strip the ball from the Eagles after they cut it to 1 score, and they had the ball trying to drive and come up with the improbable victory, but they did not do that. So now the Patriots lose 2 in a row. Why, Bob? Because the week before, in Denver, the officials
couldn't make up their mind what they wanted to play.
No, they made up their mind what they wanted to do, Bob. They wanted to make sure the Patriots did not win this game. They also wanted to make sure that the story now becomes Brock Osweiler from the Broncos being the new man while Manning is out with these bogus injuries,
right.
And they're benching him. And here comes your new story in the NFL. Will Manning be able to come back and play? Is Osweiler the new guy in the NFL for the Broncos? What are they going to do when Manning's healthy? They got a playoff run. He's won 2 games in a row, and he rallied to beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. He did nothing of the sort. He got aided by the calls by the referees who were ridiculous. Bob, how many offensive pass interference calls have been called on Gronkowski this year? 6. And that's more than 27 other teams have had offensive pass interferences on their entire team for their entire season against him. It's unbelievable. I mean, they had a muffed punt when they were up 21-7 in this game in the fourth quarter that they recovered the fumble on, and yet the refs come in and say, no, Denver ball. And that started the comeback. And then when it's 3rd and whatever, down by the goal line, they get the sack to knock them back down to the 20-yard line, setting up a 3rd and long with time running out. And they call another, the probably 12th bogus penalty in this game on the Patriots in the back of the end zone, and they wipe out the sack, give them the ball, 1st and goal, and they end up tying the game, forcing overtime, which they go on to win in OT. So that's how the Patriots lose their unbeaten season, by these ridiculous calls. And granted, they did make some bad decisions on their own. They should have been running it inside 3 minutes instead of passing the ball, where Gronkowski got hurt on that play when they should have been running the ball. That was a mistake by them. But still, the referees hosed them big time on this one, and then they backed that up with the loss to the Eagles. So now suddenly the Patriots find themselves in 3rd place, Bob.
Yeah.
Because they are losing the tiebreaker to the Broncos and the Bengals. The Broncos and Bengals will play each other later in the season, so one of those teams is going to lose. They're all 10-2 right now. Patriots get a road game down in Houston this weekend. Houston's defense has been coming on strong. Just ask the Jets about that, as they lost to the Texans a couple weeks ago down there. But I do think the Patriots will get back on track. Good news was Gronkowski was practicing today. Do not know if he will play this weekend, but they had Amendola back. They had Jamie Collins and a couple other defensive players come back this weekend. I think they'll shore up the mistakes, get back on the winning track, and hand the Texans a loss this weekend. J.J. Watt, speaking of injuries, he broke his hand in practice this week, so he's questionable for the game this weekend. Plus, we know that the Texans' offense is pretty pedestrian. But back to your division, Bob. Yeah. I mean, the Eagles, after this win, now suddenly they have the momentum, and they are home against the Bills in the rematch of Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, coming back home to his former team and his former coach, which we know there is no love lost. Redskins are at the Bears, and the Cowboys are at the Packers. I think suddenly the Eagles are now the team that has the chance to get things done.
I mean, this could be a 4-way tie. I mean, we got 4 teams under 500 for the first time.
Your Giants head down to Miami on Monday night. The Dolphins, we know, stink, so you should be able to get a win there.
Oh, yeah, right.
We don't know.
4-way tie for first place will be interesting.
Could be. If the Cowboys somehow knock off the Packers, who we know got the Hail Mary of all Hail Marys. Another game aided by a poor officiating decision. That game was over. Lions winning. And, oh, wait a second. Refs throw a flag on a phantom face mask call, which was not a face mask, and they give the Packers an untimed down, one extra play. They throw the 61-yard Hail Mary play that they somehow come down with in the end zone in Detroit to knock Detroit out and get back on the winning track for the Packers in that game. So that was a big play right there. So they're back in the mix. How about some of these other teams, Bob, that have revived their season? Kansas City, winners of 6 in a row in the AFC. They are now in the playoffs at 7-5. The Jets, if the playoffs started right now, would be 7-5 and in the playoffs. The Steelers at 7-5, losing the tiebreaker, they would be out. Bills, Colts, and Texans at 6-6. We'll see what happens moving forward there. In the NFC, you got Carolina undefeated still at 12-0. Packers and Vikings tied atop their division 8-4 after the Vikings got crushed by the suddenly surging Seattle Seahawks. Cardinals 10-2, Seahawks 7-5. So they're the wild card teams. Vikings at Cardinals tonight. Vikings looking to get back on track. I don't think they're going to get a win down in Arizona tonight. Steelers at Bengals this weekend. That's a big game. Falcons at Panthers, as we mentioned. Panthers undefeated. Let's switch gears, Bob, to college football because we got a bunch of other things we want to get to as well.
Bowl games coming up.
A lot of bowl games coming up. Here are the playoff bowl games as they are set for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
How about that, Bob? New Year's Eve is when these 4 teams playing in the playoffs go down. I don't know that I really like it on New Year's Eve myself.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard because a lot of people are home.
To party on New Year's Eve, and you got to worry about college football games going down at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock.
Right.
Regardless, Clemson, who held on, aided again by another penalty called a mysterious penalty in the ACC championship game. They did hold on by 8 points over North Carolina to hold on to that 1 seed. They will be playing Oklahoma at 4 o'clock on New Year's Eve. And then it's Alabama, who had no problem getting by Florida in the SEC championship game, 8 o'clock. They get the Big Ten champion, Michigan State, who knocked off not only Ohio State, but then undefeated Iowa, getting the score late in a low-scoring defensive battle. I'm looking at that Michigan State-Alabama game. I'm rooting for Sparty. They pulled off some great victories this year, right at the wire in the final minutes a couple times, one time against Michigan at the buzzer, basically. And their defense shows up week in, week out. So that is going to be a great game. And the Clemson-Oklahoma game, I know my niece and my dad and all those guys down there in South Carolina are going to be nerve-wracked for sure on New Year's Eve as they watch Clemson trying to get back to a championship game and win a championship for the first time since 1981. We'll see if they can get that done. Some of the other big games on New Year's Day, Houston at Florida State. Happy to see the AAC represented in a major bowl game on New Year's Day. How about Notre Dame? They suffered a tough loss against Stanford. And after they had squeaked out a win, as we see here, those photos from Fenway Park, that game against Boston College a few weeks back. That was a great game. But Notre Dame knocked out of that playoff picture by that last-second loss to Stanford in what was a wild game. Speaking of Stanford, they will be playing Iowa on New Year's Day. Back in the AAC, we mentioned Houston. How about Auburn versus Memphis? That's a good matchup for AAC. Pitt versus Navy. Temple versus Toledo. So 4. Wait a second, make that 5 AAC teams because UConn knocked off Houston from the undefeated rank, and that game made them bowl eligible. They finished 6-6. They will be playing December 26th, 11 a.m., Bob. I'll be driving back from Rhode Island after Christmas Day.
11 o'clock in the morning?
And I probably have to get part of this game on the radio on the 26th. St. Pete down in Florida, St. Petersburg is where they're playing on December 26th versus Marshall, who's 9-3, UConn 6-6. And my Colorado State Rams, they finished the season strong, Bob. Ended up 7-5. They'll be playing December 29th in Tucson against Nevada. So that's going to be a good game. Was very happy to see them finish strong, winning their final 2 games, and really did well down the stretch. The first bowl game of the season, December 19th, New Orleans, Arkansas State versus La Tech. Not really a great matchup.
Right.
How about this, Bob? 40 bowl games, right?
Right.
So there's too many bowl games, obviously.
Of course.
Which means, get this, there was not enough bowl-eligible teams to fill out all the bowls. So now there's 3 teams with sub-500 records playing in bowls. San Jose State, Nebraska, and Minnesota, all 5 and 7 will be bowling.
That makes no sense.
Unbelievable, Bob. They got to cut back on these bowl games. It's ridiculous.
Well,
and not only that, there's 12 teams that are 6-6.
Right. Years ago, we only had what? We only had like.
I mean, come on.
Maybe about
it's the
10,
participation prize.
Now we got like 30. It's like unreal.
Yeah, it's not good. All right, so college basketball, speaking of UConn, some tough losses for our Huskies, Bob. all close ones, but really some of it was fool's gold in some of these games. I mean, Maryland, who is number 6 in the land, they did end up beating UConn by 10. They were up by 20. UConn did have the ball down by 3 late in this game, so they did have a chance, much like they had a chance against Gonzaga and against Syracuse. 2 games they lost as well by 3 points. So they are 5-3. They did show fight in all these games, much like Maryland was up big. Gonzaga was also up big on UConn. They're ranked 20th, by the way, Gonzaga. But UConn did stage a ferocious rally. What is going on, Coach Ali? Why are your guys not coming out ready to play against Maryland and Gonzaga, falling behind big? I do like the fact that they're showing fight and coming back, but really, come on. You got to be ready to play. You can't show up in the last 5 minutes and expect to pull out a miracle comeback.
Right.
And that Syracuse game was very disappointing because UConn was up actually 19-13 in that game, and then they wilted, let Syracuse take control, went on a big run, and went up with a decent lead in the second half before UConn rallied. They had the ball like 5 times in a one-possession game, and they could not get a good shot. That was partly to blame, I think, with the schedule. They played at 9:30 at night, then 3:30 the next afternoon, and then the Gonzaga game was at 12:30 the following day. It was a tournament straight through that Thanksgiving weekend. So there was some fatigue possible. The things about UConn basketball, I'm noticing no true point guard and no pure shooters from the three-point arc. In the rotation, he's still trying to work it out. They got bodies and they got size, but I don't know if they got the right proper team in place.
The right chemistry is not.
Yeah, so far not so good. They have Ohio State at home this weekend, so another big game Saturday. We'll see. And how about this, Bob? It's early in the year, but 9 of the 11 AAC teams have started the season above 500. So there is competition. It's going to be a tough division. We'll see what happens with UConn moving forward. Michigan State, number 1. Kansas, number 2. North Carolina, number 3. Iowa State, number 4. Kentucky, number 5. NBA action, Bob. You better tune in on Friday night to watch this game up in Boston. Speaking of the Garden.
You're right.
Boston Celtics will get their shot at, get this, Bob, the 23-0 Golden State Warriors. Unbelievable. The defending champions have raced past the record start by the Dallas Mavericks of 15-0 to start a season. They're 8 games past that point, Bob, at 23-0. They're looking to become the first team ever to complete a 7-game road trip. Get this, Bob. In the history of the NBA, there's been 290 7-game road trips. No one has ever gone 7-0 on a road trip. They are looking to do that. If they beat the Celtics and then they beat the Bucks on Sunday, they will do it. Celtics at 13-9, solid win, 105-100 against the Bulls last night. Let's see, what do we got? Strange Man stats of the week. Boston Celtics beat the Bulls in Boston. Both teams won on the same day. It's going to snow big time. What? Strange Man. I'll get to his NHL thing in a second. I knew he had something about the Celtics. I'm not sure what that meant. But anyways, that's going to be a marquee matchup. Celtics could end this streak. We know the Lakers have the longest streak ever at 33.
Right.
Warriors at 23-0 right now, Bob. They are must-see TV. They're doing it by scoring a ton of points. And the thing I like about the Celtics, Bob, 8 guys in double figures last night, regularly putting all 5 starters in double figures. They come off a nice road trip. In the East, 10 of 15 teams over 500. 1 through 8 is separated by 2 games. The Cavs are 14-7. I mentioned the Celtics, they're the 7th seed right now at 13-9. So only 2 games separating in the loss column. I do got to mention Charlotte. We're running out of time, but I will mention Charlotte, Buzz City, Bob. They are in first place. Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lamb, the 1-2 punch, former UConn Huskies at 13-8. And also, I do want to mention former Husky Andre Drummond. He's averaging 18 points, 17 rebounds on the season, Bob. Detroit on the outside looking in the deep East right now at 12-11. And the West is down right now, Bob. Only 6 teams over 500. One of those teams well below 500, the LA Fake Show, Bob, and Shobi Defiant no more. He has decided retirement is upon him. The question is, will he make it through the season? He's pitiful, pathetic, horrible. He announced mid-season, this is it. He will be hanging him up. He should quit now. Speaking of pathetic, Bob.
How about the Sixers?
How about the Sixers, Bob? Duncan, Ginobili, and Leonard all rest in the game the other night against the Sixers. What was the final score? 119-68.
Yeah.
They blew them out by 51 points when they were resting their 3 top players. Unreal. All right, here's the stat of the week. Boston Bruins beat Montreal in Montreal 3-1 last night, ending a 7-game losing streak against Les Habitants Canadiens. So that was very nice to see that. They did it late, too. They were down 1-0 with about 6-7 minutes to go. 3 quick goals by the Bruins, who are 7-1-2 in their last 10, moving up the rankings. They are in playoff position right now. Your Rangers, Bob, 4-5-1 in their last 10, so they are slipping a little bit, but still second place behind the Capitals in the Metropolitan. Islanders right behind you at 37 points. They're 6-2-2, so they are playing well. Devils tied for 4th in that division. So Rangers, Isles, Devils in the Metropolitan in the mix for the playoffs. All right, a couple other things I will mention. Speaking of local sports, soccer MLS Cup did not go to the Red Bulls, who did have the top team in the East this year. They didn't even make it to the championship. They got knocked out by DC United, who then lost to Portland. So the championship stayed out west. I did want to mention, I didn't get the pictures in, but that's all right. There were some interesting things in boxing this weekend. We'll mention quickly, there is a new heavyweight champion. Klitschko is out. Tyson Fury is the new man in Britain. Some symmetry there as the Klitschko brothers held down the fort since when the British fighter Lennox Lewis was the last guy. And now there's a British guy, Tyson Fury. Another good fight that happened this weekend in our waning moments was, we've mentioned him before, Long Island's Chris Algieri. Where is he from? That nice little town of Greenlawn, Long Island, as a matter of fact. Bob, he won a nice fight this weekend to get him back in the situation
this weekend.
What's that?
Jenna, she's in the Nutcracker on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
All right, so down at where's the
DHS, right at the Danbury High School.
DHS. So the lights will be shining bright. Yes. They're shining bright on me right now.
Yeah.
It's a little warm in the studio. All right, we are out of here.
We'll be here next week.
We will be back next week.